Today, we continue our journey with the third woman in the lineage of Christ, Ruth. Once again, she is a Gentile, a descendant of the Moabites, a nation born out of the incestuous union between Lot and his two daughters. Ruth married a Jewish man, but her husband died. She had every legitimate opportunity to return to her own people and remain a Moabite. Even her mother-in-law, Naomi, urged her, saying, "Go back and remain among your people." But Ruth made a declaration that shook her generation. "Your God shall be my God. Where you go, I will go, and where I lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." Do you realize how immense Ruth's faith had to be to make this choice? The narrative of Ruth unfolds against the backdrop of the book of Judges. What kind of era was that? It was a time when there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. It was the darkest, most chaotic, ruined chapter in Israel's history, an era of civil war where the 12 tribes butchered one another. In fact, some of the most horrifying and gruesome sins recorded in the entire Bible took place during this exact period, committed by the very people chosen by God. When speaking of this God, even her Jewish mother-in-law, Naomi, bitterly confessed in despair, "The hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Ruth 1:13. Yet facing such pitch-black darkness, how did Ruth respond? In essence, Ruth was saying, "I believe in your God. I don't believe that all of you are good people. I don't believe your religious community back then was a pure one, nor do I believe the whole nation of Israel is righteous. But I believe that the God you have betrayed is the absolute, true, unchanging God. If you have not yet placed your trust in Christ, or if you have temporarily lost your faith due to your circumstances, Ruth's story serves as a profound encouragement to you. You can still believe in and flee to an unchanging God, even while standing within an imperfect church surrounded by flawed people. Ruth did not merely believe in the existence of God. She held a deeper conviction that God had not utterly abandoned this rebellious people, and that his light would still pierce the gloom. She believed in God's law. Even though all she saw around her was lawlessness and corruption, and even though her late father-in-law, her late husband, and her mother-in-law failed to live like true Israelites, she stubbornly believed that someone, somewhere, must still honor God's commands. Thus, driven by the faith that someone must be keeping the law, she stepped into the fields to look for the corners left unharvested according to the commandments. Through this precise trust in the hidden righteousness of the law, she didn't just survive. She encountered Boaz and reaped a covenant love story. How then did Ruth legally enter the genealogy of the king? Was it because of some extraordinary moral deed? No. It was because she trusted in God, believed that someone would fulfill God's law, and trusted that through that fulfillment, she would be saved. This is exactly the same reality for Christians today. We believe in God, and we trust in Christ, the one who perfectly fulfilled every single requirement of God's law on our behalf. By clinging to Christ's perfection, we are saved and become Christians. But this is a beautiful paradox of active passivity. At the very source of salvation, we are first entirely passively saved and regenerated by His grace. And it is precisely this passive salvation that transforms us, enabling us to actively believe and flee to Him for refuge. Once I fully trust that the sovereign God will rescue me, when it comes to earning my salvation, there is absolutely nothing left for me to do. When you reach the end of the book of Ruth, do you remember how the elders at the city gate of Bethlehem blessed the marriage of Boaz and Ruth? They declared, "And may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring that the Lord will give you by this young woman." Ruth 4:12. Look at that. Tamar and Judah appear once again. At that time, the inhabitants of Bethlehem belonged directly to the tribe of Judah, and they were precisely the descendants of Perez, whom Tamar risked her life to conceive out of a broken family. By invoking this scandalous history at a holy wedding, the elders were declaring to the bride and groom, "Our lineage is not born of righteous men. The only reason we, the descendants of broken sinners, have survived and multiplied within this promise unto this day is entirely because of God's staggering, incomprehensible, and absolute grace." If you like it, please subscribe and share the video. Your encouragement is my motivation to continue creating. Thank you.